Good afternoon, I'm Herman Green with the Midday News. A special welcome if you're watching online at onespotmedia.com. The butler accused of sexually assaulting a New Jersey couple at Sandals Royal Bahamian has denied the incident and says he pleaded not guilty when arrested. American couple Jeffrey Pascarella and Ashley Reed accused Moral Adderley of touching Miss Reed inappropriately in their room at the resort the night before their wedding. We have more in this report.
Now, instantly, let's go right into the question most people are asked when they see this. You pleaded guilty.
Yes,
Why
I
did you? Why did you? Pleading guilty means that you did it.
Yes.
Did you do what this couple is saying you did?
Definitely not. Definitely not, and that's why I reach out to you based on allegation that's out there. You know, I'm just here to clear my name. I'm just here to tell the Bahamian people, the Bahamas and international, you know, my side, because they've only heard their side of the story.
What is your side of the story?
My side of the story is I was one of the butlers that was assigned to Mr. and Mrs. Reed. I was the butler that checked them in. I was the butler who would have initially knew all of their itinerary and their plans that would have been occurred for that week. The night before the wedding, they had a cocktail party around one of the pool areas, which I attend to make sure my butler clients was enjoying themselves, which they did. They always commend me on the service. They introduced me to the entire family, let them know what a wonderful butler I was. And just to jump straight into the allegations, winding down to the end of the cocktail party, Mr. and Mrs. Reed said they're gonna turn in for the night. And being a butler, I never left any of my guests before they say they're going to turn in for the night. That's when I know service is completed.
Correct.
And upon them saying they were going to bed that evening, Mr. Reed asked me if I could bring him a couple of bottles of water to the room, which I went on an adventure to find. And I did proceed protocol.
Protocol is?
Protocol is you knock, you search your name as the butler. Within a few seconds, if no answer, then you enter the room. When I knocked on the door and I told him I was the butler, Mr. Reed opened, and yes, I repeat myself, he opened the door, which I then asked him, where would he like me to place the bottle of waters? He said I can place it on both ends of the beds. Mrs. Reed was laying down in her bed. She was awake. And I asked her if she was happy about getting married the following day, which she replied she did. Before leaving the room, I asked Mrs. Reed, can I take her breakfast order? Or would she like to place a breakfast order, which they did every night before one of the butlers left. She did place a breakfast order. And as I completed the take her breakfast order, she said, Moral, you're the best. Can I have a hug before you leave?
She asked you for a hug?
Most definitely.
Where was her fiancé at this time?
He was in the
bathroom?
In the bathroom area. You know, when I flopped her, hugged her, he walked out. And when he walked out, I said, Mr. Reed, would you like to place a breakfast order as well? He said, sure.
In the meantime, Sandals Resorts International has launched a staunch defense in the wake of fresh allegations of sexual assault at its hotels. 2 women recounted being sexually assaulted in a report on ABC's Good Morning America on Monday. It's a case of who to believe in the recent revelation of sexual assault allegations being brought against Sandals Resort International. In a release Monday evening, Sandals says the report, which was aired on Good Morning America, did not include pertinent information about both cases. The release says it cannot disclose much of the details because of pending litigation. However, it says it was surprising to hear about Melissa Blayton's allegations since the resort has made contact with her multiple times over the last few months. The company says Ms. Blayton even indicated plans for a return visit to Sandals Resort in 2019. In the meantime, Sandals says Ashley Pascarella's allegations present a self-serving, one-sided and incomplete version of an incident reported in 2016. Mrs. Pascarella and her husband are suing the resort for $30 million. Sandals says it intends to vigorously defend itself in court against the allegations. The hotel chain further stated that the recent allegations of cover-ups are false and are a gross misrepresentation of not only the facts, but what Sandals stands for. 1 week before Christmas, President of the Jamaica Vendors, Higglers and Markets Association, Dustin Whittingham, is insisting it is safe to shop in downtown Kingston. Speaking on TVJ's Smile Jamaica program this morning, he explained that, among other things, traffic and garbage issues have been addressed ahead of Grand Market Night, the busiest shopping day of the festive season. We have more in this report.
The Christmas season, a time when downtown Kingston comes alive with shoppers eager to get some of the best deals on goods and services. It's also one of the busiest times for thieves, a fact which is believed to have reduced the number of shoppers during the festive period. But speaking on TVJ's Smile Jamaica program this morning, President of the Jamaica Vendors, Higglers and Markets Association, Dustin Whittingham, assured that the state of public emergency has made the area safer.
Since recently, there is a special zone of operation which cover the Western Belt, taking it all along to Harbour Street into Port Royal Street, the market and the business district on the west side of Parade, going as far up beyond Public into Arnett Yard, and then when you go west, it will go from West Queen Street into Spanish Town Road, leading it back to as far as Rima.
He said that the usual traffic congestion in the area at this time of the year is also under control, and there are secure areas to park.
There's no more boulevard down there for you to walk. There is no highway. All what you have down there leave now until Friday going into Saturday is what you call some small terrace and alley and lanes. Not much street is down there right now. So people are adjusting. There's a lot of car park. You have the West Pichong Street and West Street big car park, which will take you to both them who is doing agricultural buying.
That is a major.
No, that's a major car park.
That's paid parking.
That's paid parking. And then you have what you call the one at Barry and Church Street. That is also a major car park. You have the Ulma's Arcade, which is there for you, right at Church Street. And that then after joining the parish church, it was once the Ulma's Arcade, and then we move over to 65 Church Street. We have to also look at Pernell Charles Arcade, where the A and the B wing was burned out.
And on the matter of garbage,
the packaging of garbage, those garbage trucks will not be able to go into the cubicles, those alleys and little lanes which are there now. So we are saying to our people, package the garbage, put them on the frontier off the main road, like so an orange street, and they just come and pick them up. Because you can't sweep right now.
Shane Masters, TVJ News.
Security consultant and former Deputy Commissioner of Police, Mark Shields, is making a case for the government and opposition to join forces to tackle crime before the states of emergency expire in January. He wants them to work together to organize social and community interventions to prevent a return of rising crime in vulnerable areas. His proposal comes in the midst of the controversy surrounding the opposition's decision not to vote for another extension of the states of emergency. Mr. Shields cites the Tivoli Gardens situation in 2010, where not enough social work was done before the security forces exited the area and crime returned as soon as they left. It's why he's now pushing for urgent attention before these states of emergency end.
It is important that we try to occupy the space of the criminals, that we continue to have that control, and in the meantime, at the back end, we need to ensure that this government and the opposition, working together in harmony, in consensus, find social and economic means by which we can stop the constant cycle of 20% crime reductions followed by no activity because we failed to do the back end as we did back in 2010 with Tivoli Gardens.
He also argues that there should have been more collaboration between the government and opposition to engage more community members during the states of emergency. Member of Parliament for Portland Western, Darrell Vaz, is moving to end what he says is an environmental and health hazard in an area of Buff Bay known as Diamond. He led a team of government officials on a tour of the area Tuesday morning, where he promised to relocate residents through a partnership with charity organization Food for the Poor. He says the National Land Agency has identified 5 acres of land and the government will be putting in the infrastructure for Food of the Poor to build houses for people.
There's no waste facilities, there's no toilets,
They say it is extremely poor waste management, mosquito breeding, and of course the risk to safety because of the closeness to the river.
Yeah,
and
the children,
when the river is in speed. So those persons who are obviously very emotionally attached here would have to look at what it is that they are getting in return for this. And that would be somewhere a roof over their head and also the amenities and the services. So it would make them be able to live a very comfortable life in comparison to.
We go down to news overseas. In the United States, 62% of Americans do not believe President Trump has been completely truthful when it comes to the investigation into Russia's 2016 election interference. That's according to a new NBC Wall Street Journal poll. We go to the CNN for more.
A new report to the Senate Intelligence Committee indicating that social media companies may have given the bare minimum amount of information during the investigation into Russia's 2016 election meddling. Facebook, Twitter, and Google complied with requests for data on Russian social media accounts posing as American accounts. But according to a source familiar with the new report, the firm the Senate hired to review the data told lawmakers there are likely more Russian accounts that the social media companies failed to identify. Google and Facebook declined to comment on the report, but a Google spokesperson pointed to the company's efforts to combat disinformation. Twitter said it has made significant strides against the manipulation of its service. Meanwhile, the Washington Post reported Sunday on a draft report commissioned by the committee looking at data provided by the tech firms through mid-2017. It provides an even clearer view of the scope of Russia's social media manipulation.
This in many ways is the report we've been waiting for. It's sweeping, it's comprehensive.
The Washington Post's Craig Timberg explaining that the disinformation campaign extended well past 2016.
Every platform that these researchers tracked posted more often after the election. We tend to think of this narrative in terms of, coming up to Election Day, but actually intensified after Election Day.
We go down to news in sports. Manchester United have sacked Jose Mourinho as manager after 2.5 years in charge at Old Trafford. The 55-year-old Portuguese guided United to League Cup and Europa League titles, but they are now 6th in the Premier League, 19 points behind leaders Liverpool, who beat them 3-1 on Sunday. United's haul of 26 points after their first 17 Premier League games is their worst tally in the top flight at this stage since 1990-91. They are 11 points off the top 4 and closer to the relegation zone than the top of the table. Mourinho's sacking comes after a fallout with an £89 million record signing of Paul Pogba, who was an unused substitute for the defeat at Anfield on Sunday. And still with sports, back home, Harbourview are out of the Red Stripe Premier League relegation zone for the first time since mid-October after the Shane Beckford's double gave them a 3-0 win over Montego Bay United Monday night in Catherine Hall. Harbourview, who were 2 points adrift of 10th place FC Reno, was given the lead after 22 minutes when Tamar Lewis beat goalkeeper Ian Miller. Beckford then got his first after 36 minutes to give Harbourview a 2-0 lead going into the halftime break. The points were then made safe on minute 76 when Beckford had his second of the night.
We've been working for this so long and so hard, and the guys go out there and give a professional performance today. All our players are important to the squad. Deshane, no different. He's a striker, and as a striker, you have to score goals. And we've been asking Deshane to score goals all the time when he plays, and he have it. He's a fast player, very talented, and he showed up today.
I think we started the game pretty flat with some basic defensive error that we made today. Conceding 2 goals, but I think in the second half we tried to get back that goal. But I just think we never turned up today.
The results pushes Harbourview to 16 points and now up to 10th with FC Reno and Dunbeholden in the bottom 2. And that's the Midday News. I'm Herman Green. Join us at 7 for the Primetime News Package. On behalf of News Sports and Production, good afternoon.